If you're ready to trigger immediate fat release, fire up your metabolism, reset your eating habits, and ignite your energy, I have an exciting announcement. I've just opened the doors for the 5-day metabolism reset. This is a simple program that I created specifically for women in midlife, menopause, and beyond to give your body a quick reboot and clear out all the junk that's slowing down your metabolism. You'll learn how to balance your hormones and immediately start releasing the fat that's been clinging to your body. Most of the women who have joined my program lose between 2 to 8 pounds in just under a week. You'll learn exactly which foods speed up your metabolism and which foods cause fat storage. You'll reset your taste buds and get rid of cravings so you'll be able to enjoy treats in moderation without going off the rails and spiraling out. And no, we're not starving ourselves or drinking weird juices or shakes. You'll never be hungry because we'll be focusing on adding in real, whole, beautiful food. I'll teach you how to meal prep like a pro with a simple done for you plan and easy hormone supporting recipes that you can easily fit into your busy lifestyle. The 5-day metabolism reset is the perfect way to get your metabolism back up and running at full speed, slim your body and your midsection, lose the bloat, fatigue, and sluggishness, have tons of energy all day long, feel light and confident, and get into a regular routine of healthy eating. You can get all the details and sign up on the link in the show notes or on my website at sarahhaaswellness.com. Welcome, beautiful soul. You're listening to the Boss Body Podcast, where we empower busy women in midlife, menopause, and beyond with the tools they need to release weight, physical, mental, and emotional, to create the vibrant, healthy life they deserve. If you're successful in so many areas of your life, but you struggle to give yourself the same love and care you offer everyone else, you've found your community. I'm your host, Sarah Haas, women's weight release and body love coach, and I'm here to help you age radiantly, feel good in your body, and live a joyful, energized life now and for decades to come. Hello, welcome to the Boss Body Podcast. I'm your host, Sarah Haas, and I am so thrilled you're here and so honored that you've taken time out of your day to be here with me. The subject today is something that I have experienced quite a bit in my life, and I know that so many of the women that I work with also are dealing with, and that is not going for what we want now. So we're waiting. It's an epidemic of waiting. So waiting to take that vacation, waiting to make that move, waiting to change that relationship, to end one or to start one, waiting to look for that job or leave that job, whatever it is that is your dream. We are waiting to go for it. And that is one of the beautiful gifts that I received from my cancer journey. I was right at the precipice of midlife. I was 47. I'm now 53. And I realized after going through that journey, hey, girl, this is midlife. If not now, when? Right? And I talked to so many women who are waiting until they lose the weight. They're waiting to take that vacation because they don't want to be seen in pictures. They're waiting for the vacation because they're afraid they're not going to be able to walk as much as they want. They're waiting for whatever, enough money, enough time for their career to take off. And time runs out. It's a fact. We have a limited amount of time. And so I really want to encourage you today to go for it. And I'm so thrilled because I have my guest today, Suzy Rosenstein. And Suzy is a master certified life coach and midlife mentor. And she works with midlife women. so that they can start living like time matters because it does. And Susie also has two popular podcasts, both for midlife women. One is called Women in the Middle, Loving Life After 50. The other is Women in the Middle Entrepreneurs, the reality of running a business after 50. Both of those apply to me. So everything she has to say is absolutely my jam. And I know you guys are going to love it. Susie, welcome, welcome, welcome. I am so thrilled to have you on today.
Thanks so much, Sarah. I'm really pleased to be here.
Yeah, so you talk a lot about this subject of time, and especially in midlife. And you, like me, are kind of saying, "Let's go for it, ladies. Let's quit waiting around." And I'm curious how you came to this point. So I shared a little bit. My cancer journey was a big catalyst to that. But how did you come about this realization and making this change in your life and then turning that into a career to help other women do the same?
Well, it's kind of interesting because when I first started coaching, I didn't appreciate the impact of my why. I thought it was mostly because I got laid off from a long term job the year I turned 50 and the year my first kid went to university. So I just was motivated by figuring out, helping people figure out what it is they wanted to do because I saw how much I struggled and how long I was stuck, which was for 5 years. Both of my parents died very young. I was 5 when my mother passed at 32, and I was 12 when my father passed at 41. And so
Wow.
basically, I know it's crazy. And I watched 4 grandparents grieving their adult children. What I realized was that the more and more midlife women I spoke to, the more and more negativity I heard about where they thought they were in life and what was still possible. There was an intense focus on what they couldn't do versus what they could still do. And then adding on to that is all this time sensitivity. And what I realized was that they just didn't have the appreciation that aging really is a gift. And that if you're alive and complaining about things, you have the privilege to age. And and that
And the
just really
privilege to
struck
make a
me.
change.
Yeah, exactly. That you've got choices and options, and when you're dead, you don't. And so it seems so ridiculous to like boil it down to this kind of simple language, but most of us have a Pinterest board. Aging is a gift, right? We're honoring that kind of stuff. We might have a bumper sticker, even if anybody has those decals on their car, or maybe you have a pillow. There's always these amazing positive life messages pillows in places like bookstores, right? So many of us have
YOLO
it.
and all
Right,
those things.
that's exactly it. So many of us have this stuff and we say this stuff, but do we really believe that aging is a gift, or do we really believe it's a downhill slide to the finish line? And so I just started to really appreciate this and seeing, wow, my parents did not have the privilege to age. And here are people that have the privilege, amazing people, amazing women with so much possibility. And they're just bummed about aging and focusing on what they look like or what they're dissatisfied with, or this wrinkle. I'm actually looking at it right now on the screen, this I don't have an 11, I have a 1. But there's just so much to complain about and to focus on, and you can really not fully appreciate your own mindset that is creating a lot of negativity for you. You just don't appreciate it because it's just so easy to just parrot positive sentiment without checking in to see if you really believe it. And if you don't believe it, it could have a negative effect on your feeling state, which leads right into, the way you behave and the way you show up. And that's really what I saw. So I know it's like a heavy lesson, and I wouldn't wish it on anyone, but it really showed me just growing up that way, comparing it to people who could be thriving and aren't, and have choices that they don't even understand they have, and have so much possibility still out there for them, no matter their age. It just really struck me. So that became my why once I revealed it because I guess it was always there. I just didn't fully appreciate it.
And then you mentioned a term, time sensitivity. Can you expand on that? That's one I've not heard before.
I, I don't, I just started using it. I don't know if it's if somebody else has researched it or whatever. But now that we're talking about it, something just popped into my head. I have a master's in psychology, and in undergrad, I did a little research study, as one did for their senior project, and it was about perception of time. I think I've always been interested in perception of time, but it almost feels like the passage of time has kind of a sizzle quality now, and it's different for different people and how they interpret wake up calls and midlife milestones and things like that. Turning 50 is a big one for many. Turning
Hmm.
60 felt very different for me than turning 50. And whatever it is, we just have this sense that we're running out of time.
Oh,
So even
yeah.
though we know that nobody lives forever, the thought that we choose to think doesn't make us feel great,
Yeah.
when you can also appreciate that you have time. And if your priorities are clear, you can use your time wisely. But that's another little problem because so many of us don't.
Yeah, I know that that is one of the things that I struggle with is always feeling like I'm running out of time, not just in life, but in short term, in daily, like I don't have enough time. I don't have enough time. I have all this stuff. I don't have enough time. And if you stay in that, before you know it, time flies by. And one of my biggest work right now and has continued, it's always a journey, right? You're always a work in progress,
Totally.
is to be in the present moment. And there's a lot of different ways I do that. Nature is one, just grounding and just going outside and appreciating um any kind of mindfulness activity, meditation, yoga. And I just have to keep reminding myself, be in the moment, be in the moment, like enjoy this. Like now, any little thing I do, like when I go to bed, I notice like how comfortable my sheets are and how much
I love that.
love I get from my little kitten. Well, she's a grown cat who snuggles with me. And then I look forward to, oh, I can't wait for my coffee tomorrow morning. And every time my mind starts spinning, which it happens all the time, it's a monkey mind, not just me, but I hear it all the time. I just go, okay, wait, look around. What do you have right now? What's your reality? Your reality is you have a beautiful, safe, comfortable home. Your kids are safe. The nature keeps going and doing its thing, and it's available to you anytime.
Yeah.
So, is that kind of the way that you teach women to come back in and value that present?
That is one way for sure. And I think of it as like a present moment reminder. And you were describing that knowing that we may not go there by ourselves, we may need to remind ourselves intentionally to stay focused and in the present moment. And so connecting to now and not thinking about the past or the future
Mm-hmm.
really has been shown to be related to your well-being. No surprise. One of the things that I'm on to myself and I'm on to midlife gals, is that we invite distractions in. And this is so interesting. Sometimes I'm very aware that I have a choice. I have a choice to stay focused and do the thing I'm trying to do. And I actively catch myself on occasion inviting a distraction in with full awareness that it's not going to help.
Yeah.
Right. So, like you, when I'm in the shower is my favorite time and I love my soaps, my fancy soaps. I'll spend a little more on fancy soaps, and I take them in the winter, uh, where I just love the rose scent in a soap in the winter. And I take a moment and I just really enjoy that experience. Plus, I've noticed that in the shower, it is a little harder to multitask. And we pride ourselves in being a master at multitasking, and multitasking it's a big myth. It's not effective. It doesn't help you with focus at all. It's really called switch tasking. It's
Mm-hmm.
inefficient. But we
Mm-hmm.
believe that we're like a Wonder Woman if we can figure out the fastest route to get someplace while listening to the radio and talking on the phone in the car, for example. Or when I'm trying to write something, I'll catch myself putting on the one of my favorite stupid shows that I think is okay to watch or listen to when I'm doing something that doesn't take a lot of deep thought, like bookkeeping, for example, right? Like, why am I doing that? It's not going to help. It's going to make the task take longer.
Right, because you're
No
switching back
question.
and forth. You're focusing on one thing, then you're listening
100.
to the other. You cannot do, your brain just can't take in both of those at the
No,
same time.
it takes longer for sure. And I remember when I learned this, I was in a book study class with the author of the book, The Practicing Mind. His name is Tom Sterner. I love this book. And it's about present moment functioning, just what we're talking about. And we had to come up with a task that we were going to specifically work on and be very aware of our experience while we were learning the new skill, while we were practicing the new skill. So I picked doing 10 push ups a day. And I thought,
That's a
okay,
good
that's
one.
a
I
good
love
one,
that.
right? Right. It's like, okay, let's watch this and see what happens to my mind and my body as I go along and getting more masterful at that little goal and skill. And so I got to it a little faster than I thought I would. And then my self-judgment kicked in like I couldn't believe. So I was explaining this to the teacher and he started asking me questions and I was fascinated. I shared thoughts like I should be farther than I am.
Yeah,
This shouldn't be as easy as it is. Why did I pick a goal that was too easy? Maybe I'm embarrassed by the other people in the class and what they chose. And I was just all in this self judgment. And he taught me that self judgment means you're right out of the present moment.
that's true.
So after I got myself dialed in again, I really slowed it down and just started to really appreciate the movement and the form of doing these 10 push-ups, all of it. And I really learned something in that one, that dwelling on the past or the future means that you're not in the present moment and you are really missing a lot by not being in the present moment. So that really blew my mind. But when you notice more that's going on now, it's easier to find more meaning, have more contentment, be aware of gratitude. It's just easier to experience life. When we're watching other people do things, we're not as annoyed by their progress and productivity. But when it's us, it's a different story. So if you're watching a flower bloom, and anybody who's watching who has a garden, like we're all about watching every single stage when the baby seeds come up, super excited. But are we saying, come on, flower, you're taking too long, just make the flower already? Like, do we discount its worthiness before it has the bloom? No. But if it's us, what's taking so long? Why am I not as productive as I could be? All the drama, all the mind chatter, and all of those questions, the way we answer those questions is the way that we're thinking. So, what kind of thoughts drive those kinds of questions? Usually, things like, there's something wrong with me. I'm not as great as I thought I was, or I'm never going to be able to do this properly, or I'm wasting time. I'm not as productive as I could be or should be. Anyway, yes, present moment functioning is really important. And it's okay to remind yourself that you want to be in the present moment and to catch when you're not. And specifically to look for ways you invite distraction. And it's kind of humorous to catch yourself doing that because it's driven by this idea that doing more at the same time, multitasking, is more productive, which isn't true at all.
Yeah, and I think if you're a mom, you didn't have a choice for a while to multitask because you are juggling 10 things at once and you sort of get in that habit and it carries through. And like you said, that's not serving you. It's not, but society reinforces that. The
It
whole
can.
super mom, superwoman, career
Yeah.
woman, it reinforces like be busy, achieve, accomplish, and then we're pushing because we think, like you said, oh my gosh, I should be further along. I should, when I look at my to-do list, I notice everything I didn't do, not all the things that I did do. And we sort of have that wrong impression that if we do two things at once, we can get both of them done in half the time. And in reality, it actually, if you did one and then the other, you could get them both done in
Oh,
a shorter amount of time.
done and dusted. One thing I'm working on now is walking without listening to podcasts or walking the dog even. I'm giving
Same.
myself permission just to walk. And I'm just starting
Unplug.
with 15 minutes, right? Yeah. And it's awesome. And what I find actually harder though is eating without distraction. So no
Hmm.
TV, no magazine, just sit there and enjoy your food. That one's very hard for me.
It's hard for a
It's
lot of
very
people
hard.
because we're
Yeah.
used to hurrying through meals too, working through lunch or just grabbing something really quick on the run, or
Wolfing
when
it
we're
down.
running out the door, whatever. Yeah, wolf it down as quickly. We don't have time for that when
Right.
that's a basic function of life. So all the things that we put on the back burner, like food, water, sleep, those are the
So true.
basic functions, basic necessities to stay alive. And those are the things that get sort of thrown under the bus. And you're so right about that mindset of, I think I should be further along than I am. I think we all
Yeah.
suffer from that. And to me, that's a big part of that is comparison. We look around and we see someone else who's further along in their career, or we see someone else who's done this or done that, or gotten in shape or lost weight or whatever it is. And then we think, oh, what's wrong with me? Just like your example of the push ups. You thought, well, this isn't a big enough goal, or I'm taking too long. And comparison is just the killer of progress because it's just
Oh,
going to
it
cause you
really
to give
is.
up.
We just are so hard on ourselves. We're
Yes.
so hard on ourselves. It's terrible. But another thing that I appreciate is a wake up call.
Yeah.
And a wake up call can be very useful. Now I know a wake up call is usually scary and sometimes tragic. But a wake up call is something that is jarring. It can happen to you or to somebody you know, or it could even be a news story that just like freaks you out a little bit. But
Yeah.
I like to think about it as an opportunity to connect with yourself and check in about how intentional you're being living your life. And so the thing is that when you are aware of a wake up call, a bunch of thoughts are going to come up. So again, it's an opportunity to, what are you thinking? That could have happened to me. I'm wasting time. I might be waiting. I'm not being intentional. I don't even know what my priorities are. And one of the things that is so common in my community is this idea that we don't even know what we want.
Hmm.
So we're so disconnected because we've been on the fast train to life, taking care of everybody else, not putting ourselves first for 20 or 30 years. So the last time we had a solid plan and a sense of priorities for many of us was decades ago. We wanted to establish a family, own a home, establish a career, um, get my education, like something like that. We had some big goals, whatever they were, traveling, whatever it is. We had those goals and we set course. But now we've accomplished a lot of those goals and now we have a blank slate, and a blank slate is very overwhelming.
Hmm.
And so the combination of feeling too busy over the years to be clear about your perhaps changing priorities and time flying by and being overwhelmed, all of the things, a wake up call can cut through it. It's a bit of a mindset hack if you think about it that way, because it's something that can cut through because it stops you in your tracks. You might be feeling fear or shock, or you might even have a positive wake up call where somebody accomplished a massive goal that you personally thought was unattainable.
Hmm.
Whatever it is, it's an opportunity to check in. So watching for your interpretation about these kinds of things can really help you. So they're not all negative, although they can be very scary for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I shared, my cancer journey was a huge,
Exactly.
huge wake up call. And I don't wish that on anyone, but anything that I experience, I do try to think, what is the universe trying to show me? What is the universe teaching me here? And how can I use this to change my life? And that's what I did. One of the things I started doing was traveling because I've
Mm.
always loved traveling and I had traveled some, but it was few and far between. And in the past 4 years since I've been cancer free, I've gone to Greece, I've gone to Italy, I've gone to Ireland, I've gone out
Wow.
west to state parks on hiking trips. I did a wine tour. I'm all in and I'm not waiting until I retire or until I save enough money or whatever. I have a lot of things I want to do. Some people want to write a book. Some people want to start a new career or retire. And we just keep waiting and waiting and waiting.
So true. And your wake up call was also a wake up call for other people who knew you,
Absolutely.
right? And that's the thing, like it has a ripple effect. And anyway, I appreciate the role that wake up calls can play in your journey to become more intentional and to like grow into the woman that you really want to be.
Yeah. And I notice a lot of people, especially with their health, because I'm a health coach, see their parents aging and declining or see other loved ones or family members who didn't take care of their health and their body. And that's a huge wake up call that, all right, I'm in midlife. This is when these things are going to start happening. And if I don't stop staying busy doing everything for everyone else, I am not going to be able to focus on me. And a lot of women wait until retirement. They just think,
Yeah.
okay, I'm going to work, I'm going to work, 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 work. When I retire, I'll stop and focus on my health. But the sooner the better, right?
Yeah. And the other thing that happens is we're kind of surprised at how old we are. It's part of the time flying by thing. But
Yeah.
in our mind, somewhere along the line, some of us had ideas of when we would do certain things. Like you were just
Hmm.
saying, that's something I'll do in retirement. I'll wait until retirement. And sometimes it's a age benchmark. Oh, but by the time I'm 50, I will finally have lost the baby weight or whatever it is. Or
Hmm.
I've heard all
Written the
kinds of
book,
things. Right,
taken the
exactly. And then
trip.
all of a sudden you're 50. And I know that I've certainly caught myself going, wait, I'm 62. What? Am I really that old? And then I count back and sometimes and I've heard that it's
Yeah.
surprising to realize that now we're the age that we thought we would have done certain things by. And again, it's just a check in point as to where we are. And is that okay? Like, is there a gap between, excuse me, between our priorities and and what we really want and where we are? And is that gap just because we're winging it and it's just autopilot life? We just didn't really appreciate is because we really have no idea what our priorities are. We're just
Hmm.
bad planners. Like, what is it? And is it something we want to do something about? Because time matters.
So when you work with women, do you sit down with them and help them establish their priorities and learn how to focus on those instead of, because I think a lot of us
Yeah.
are so caught in this trap of doing what everybody else wants us to do. So we feel like we're sort of a victim of the busy schedule. It's putting out fires, just flying by the seat of our pants. And is that one of the things that you sort of help women calm down, center, and set the priorities and then decide how to go about making that shift?
Absolutely. And I came up with something called the F.U.N framework, F-U-N, where F stands for find your thoughts. U stands for understand what you want. And N stands for nurture your commitment to yourself. And it sounds simple, but there's all kinds of stuff that gets in the way as you're working through finding your thoughts, discovering thoughts you didn't even know you had, understanding what you want and allowing that to be okay, and then nurturing your commitment to yourself, where you might be thinking it's too indulgent, I don't deserve it, it's too expensive, who do I think I am? It's not the right time. What might people say? All these things on your way to developing courage and commitment to yourself to create the life that you want. So I work a lot on clarity. And one of the main things to do to get clear is to look at that gap that we were just talking about is where are you and is that okay? Like, where are you? Oh, and I have this whole thing I take people through that looks at three different areas of their life: self care, relationships, and the way you make a professional contribution. For some people, that's a career. For other people, it's a volunteering or a combination. And the idea is to do like an assessment, a life assessment of what you're doing well in and what you're not doing well in, according to you. And then you look at that and you're like, wow, okay, I'm this old and this is what's happening. So, with me, one of the main areas I discovered I really needed to work on was, we referred to this earlier in the call, the basics of self care. And for
Mm-hmm.
me, it was mostly enough water
Yeah.
and getting enough sleep. So,
Yeah.
those two basics were not happening enough for me.
Which
And
is so common.
it's so common. And so now I'm a proud CPAP wearer. And I have to say that wearing the Aura Ring helped me come to that conclusion because I got black and white data. I couldn't argue with it anymore.
Yeah.
It was more than my husband just saying, you should probably wear CPAP. You really snore a lot. You should probably wear a CPAP. You probably need a sleep study because he's been wearing one for 20 years. So, anyway, I tell people I'm wearing that because it's a hard decision for many women to make because it's weird. There's all this
Yeah.
stuff going on. It's
Yeah.
ugly. It's a commitment. You have to take it with you when you're traveling. But whenever we're traveling, I always notice who's carrying one on the airplane because it's a medical device. You have to carry it with you. I'm always like giving people a little wink. Yeah, I know what's
Yeah.
happening.
I know. I'm with you, girl.
I'm with you. Yeah, it's usually midlife men, but whatever. I'm wearing it and it definitely helps. But I realized that. So again, it's kind of this black and white. I was being very honest with myself. Am I where I want to be? Even though sometimes I know that there's lots I don't know about all the health. You're a health coach, but I'm not fully aware of all of the health consequences of not getting enough water and not getting enough sleep. But I started to appreciate it and it helped me move. So there was a gap because I realized I wanted to become a woman who took exceptional care of herself. That is my new mantra, my new thought. It gives me enough wiggle room because I'm learning to become that woman. It's something I want. And I need to take some action because when I see where I am, I'm not there. So it's finding our thoughts, understanding what it is that we want. So you wanted to travel. It's interesting that that wasn't more clear to you
Mm-hmm.
before your wake up call. I had an
Mm-hmm.
experience with the whitewater rafting trip. When I turned 50, I was at the gym and I overheard somebody I didn't even know talking about this amazing Grand Canyon whitewater rafting trip. And he had brochures. He was showing somebody he was chatting with at the desk. And I overheard this, and all of a sudden, this thought came into my head. I want to go on that trip. How did he take my trip? This is my trip. This is exactly what I want to do. I didn't know him, and it wasn't on my list of trips to take. But as soon as I saw it, I was like, that's happening. and and it did happen. After that, I'm like, wow, what else am I not appreciating that I really want? And why don't I know what I want? So understanding what you want and then nurturing this commitment to yourself is really being accountable for what you create in your life. And if you're blocking yourself, if you're noticing resistance, you need to ask yourself why. So one of these with sleep that I noticed was ignoring when I start to recognize that I'm actually tired, physical tiredness, and I notice myself resisting it,
Mm-hmm.
resisting the message to just go to bed.
Yep.
And, I've been working on this for years now, but now when I feel it, I'm like, oh, look at me resisting. Too bad. I'm out of here. So it's
Right.
just so interesting. Like I have a goal to sleep more, yet I'm resisting something that it is that I want to do when in my effort to close the gap and become the woman who takes exceptional care of herself. So those three things, find your thoughts, understand what you want, nurture your commitment to yourself. That is the process that I work with. It's very mindfulness based and trying to be more compassionate with your own shenanigans
Yeah.
and noticing when you're being ridiculously hard on yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And, just being very curious about the gap. If there's something you want and you don't have it in your life, there's a reason why. And it has to do with what you're thinking and how it's making you feel. Because if you're not showing up and doing things that you want to do, it's because of the way you feel. And owning that is life changing.
I love that. I love that. F.U.N. And especially because you're getting back in touch with yourself. We've become so disconnected through busyness, through
Yes.
whatever. We don't notice when we're hungry. We don't notice when we're thirsty. We don't notice when we're tired. But also, we don't notice the thoughts we're having about ourselves, the negative inner critic, or thinking that you're
Yeah.
not good enough, or that you've made it as far as you wanted or think that you should. And if you don't slow down and tune into your body and your mind, you'll never know what it is that you want, and you're never going to start taking action toward that. So I love that you point that out, because that is so important. And it goes back to that mindfulness. It goes back to that you've got to have time. You've got to slow down and, like you said, take a walk with no AirPods in, with no phone, no one calling you, no one reading texts and that kind of thing. Because then in those quiet moments, which we don't like, those can be uncomfortable, those can be scary.
Yeah.
That's when you start to tune in and start to listen. And the universe keeps sending you messages through other people, through body signals, through thoughts and desires that you have. But if you're tuned out and if you never slow down, you're not going to hear those messages, and it's going to sabotage. And we got to do it now. Now is the time.
Well, because
So,
there really is a cost to staying out of
yes.
touch with yourself. There's a cost. And you have to appreciate that. With the waiting, the longer you wait, the longer you're not doing what it is you really want to do.
Yeah.
Right? Is that what you want? Do you want to spend less time in your life doing the thing that you really want to do? Like, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Um, and you're not in a space of trusting yourself to figure things out either. So, getting into the space where you can just know that you have your own back and that you're going to proceed in a way that makes sense for you, that's amazing. But
Hmm.
making decisions about what you don't want means that you're not doing what you want. And I think it's so important to just own that.
One more
Definitely.
thing I want to ask you about before we wrap up is one of the things, the resistance that I know I feel, and that so many women that I work with feel, come up when you start talking about your own desires, when you start talking about making time for yourself, is this idea of worthiness and giving yourself permission that, yes, it's okay to focus on you, because we're so used to, and we have been raised and trained to take care of everyone else. And that when we focus on our own self care, we're taking away, and it's selfish. How do you help women overcome that obstacle?
Well, this whole issue of being in midlife and giving yourself permission to put yourself first really can be a big deal for so many of us. And the biggest piece of advice I have when you notice that you're very uncomfortable taking those steps, which might start out with a bit of managing some people pleasing, saying no, perhaps owning your dreams and moving them forward. The idea of questioning and being curious about what you're thinking and asking yourself why. So if you notice that you're thinking, oh, I just can't do that, ask yourself why. Or you might be thinking, well, this is too expensive. I could never put myself first, or I could never go on that weekend, though, or I could never go on that weekend retreat, or I could never spend enough money going to visit my friend, or I could never suggest this trip, whatever it is. Ask yourself why. Why can't you do that? What are you making that mean? And then when you look at the answers you give yourself, notice, are you okay with those reasons? Are you okay with that? And then once you clear it up and entertain the idea that you could give yourself permission, then what? What does it mean to do that? And take a baby step. And the way to take a baby step is to give yourself a way to think that just inches you forward just a little bit. Like, I'm open to the idea that I really could go away for a weekend. Or I'm learning that putting myself first isn't as uncomfortable as I first thought it was. So giving yourself what we like to call a bridge thought rather than, no, I'm a
Mm-hmm.
rock star, I can go away for 2 weeks. You don't need to start there. You can go there eventually, but you might just want, I'm learning, or I'm open to the
Mm-hmm.
idea that something like that will just get you going. Because if you can lean in just a smidge, that will help you move it forward, versus if you're full of resistance and you just back out because you're thinking something that pulls you away, that will just stop it right in its tracks. So be aware of the resistance and be curious about it.
I love that. And that's all about tuning into your thoughts and what's going to work for you and what's not. And I always teach small steps, baby steps,
They're the
maybe a
best.
tiny bit outside your comfort zone, but not going from 0 to 100 in one giant
Exactly.
step because that's too hard. It's too
Too much.
uncomfortable.
Too much.
Yes. Susie, thank you. Thank you so much. This has been so amazing. I want to
It's been fun.
mention that Susie has a free gift for us. It's called Get Unstuck in Midlife Quiz. And this quiz will help you find out what's keeping you stuck and then how to move forward toward the life that you've been putting off and discovering what your future self is craving. I love that craving. That's right. That's right in my wheelhouse. I'll be sure to put the link in the show notes because I know you're going to want to go and take that quiz. I know I'm going to. I'm so curious. Susie, thank you for your wisdom and for your clarity and for your encouragement. I appreciate you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Sarah. It was a really fun conversation. And I love talking about this and thinking about it because it's so important.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you all for being here and for listening and for letting me be a part of your life. And I'll see you soon. Thank you so much for being here. I'm honored that you've chosen to spend your time with me and allowed me to be part of your journey. In case you need to hear this, you are enough. You're smart enough. You're successful enough. You're beautiful enough. You're important enough. You are enough right now, just as you are. You were enough yesterday. You'll be enough tomorrow. If this episode resonated with you, I'd love for you to subscribe and share it with the amazing women in your life who could use a little extra love and support. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you next time.